I had a track this morning and there haven't been many tracks this year, mostly because of the lockdown. I'm so unfit, I'm not doing any big walks, you know. But I'm out for a wee day out and a wee look around. It's a quiet autumn morning, there's not much wind and it looks like we might get some rain as the day goes on. But I'm just mostly gonna walk, you know, and see what I see. So out today for a wee run at trout, just to see if we can get a fish. To be honest, I think the trout's over. We had a frost and whatnot a couple of week back maybe, I don't know. And it's cold, and as you can see, there's to be a light easterly wind. There's not much of a wave in the sea, but it's going to be a tough day. But an interesting walk, I hope. And to be honest, that's more the reason for coming. So we'll see how we go. So there's the view behind us. Not many people on the beach today, I can tell you. It's late in the season, you know, and I mean there's never many on it, but today I think there's nobody on it. I can't see a single one at the minute. Usually you get somebody walking their dog or something, you know. So we're parked down there, I don't know if you can see it, in the wee hole, and we're going to walk off in this direction. And unfortunately, as you can see, it's all hilly in here. And it seems like a really clever move to keep to the low ground until you discover that low ground is mostly swampy, boggy rubbish, and you're actually better climbing the hills. But climbing the hills is misery when you're old like me, and when you've been locked down with the COVID like me, and also when you mostly walk flat moor like me, I suppose. It's something a wee bit different, you know. So again, this is going to be a weird day out compared to some others. Dear, every time I manage to gain some height, I then drop down in a wee hole and lose it all again. So you're always climbing here. You don't ever reach anything higher than about 60 feet, but you climb about 6,000 feet to get there, you know. But this is a wee house. I don't know. I think it's marked as a mound on the map, and I have no idea exactly what it was used for or what it is. I mean, obviously it has recently seen some use even, and maybe just people out here, watchers, or people at sheep or something. I don't really know. I'm just guessing. Certainly there used to be an estate on this ground, and they had fishing and shooting rights right up to here. Bickerdike writes about that in his book. So it is possible it was for something like that. I just don't know. And of course, none of us know how old it is. Could be prehistoric for all we know. Nice day for admiring it though. Right, let's throw away all that height again and climb yet another hill. See what I mean? There, down in the wee tiny hole. Ta-da, pick your way through the rocks. Struggle, struggle, struggle. Avoid breaking an ankle, so on. And then back up the north face of the Eiger again. Only to do it all again once we reach the top of here. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old, but I find it faintly irritating, you know. So there we go. On to another summit, and a line of them arrayed before us. There's a big rocky thing out here. I don't know. I mean, who thought of putting that there, you know? You often wonder if anybody's actually climbed up it. It looks like it would be a bit of a challenge. See? Goes down into like the sea. I don't like the sea. Not keen on it at all. But yeah, you just think, who put that there, you know? Should pick it up again and take it away. Anyhow, we slog onwards. Oh, there's the eagles. Heard our camera beeping. He's away over there. And I think this might be called Loch of the Birds, actually. Don't know, I haven't checked. But as you can see, I'm still going up and down. And I'm seeing more sea now. Again, I went a bit inland and now I've come a bit outland. So I'm going to keep slogging on. See, I'm about halfway there now, so not so bad, you know. The eagle, he's going away. He's fed up with me, obviously. See if he can't find something more tasty. So we'll keep going. Wander down here, and somebody's been here on a quad bike as well. And really, the tracks aren't that old, so obviously quite recent, you know. So all I can tell you about this loch is it gets a reputation for being extremely difficult to get fish out of. And the wind is bitterly cold today. So I'm not imagining that we'll do especially well, or indeed at all well. But nonetheless, it'll give us a bit of a laugh and a bit of a day out. And it's always interesting to see someone that are new, because I've never been here before. So it's a new loch for me. And that in itself makes it worth the walk. I'm just going to have a wee quick fish here, I think. And then I see a wee spot over there. that might be good for tea. So I might motor over there, and then I'll contemplate whether I go further out to some more lochs that are out beyond this one, or whether I stay here and hammer this one. I've got to say, this one appears dark, deep, peaty. It's not a loch that I would expect to get decent fish in. And not a loch that I would be expected, or I would expect to be considered dour. I would expect it to be full of wee sort of 3-inch bandies, you know. But we'll see how we go. Well, wee shallows there, so let's see if we can put the fly along the edge of them, maybe. Caught in the heather. Well, I think this is a good point to walk around and maybe look at the possibilities of making some tea. I just get a wee sheltered bit out of the wind, and then we'll see what we do from there. Consider the tactics. I think that's the plan. So I don't have a banana today. Bit disappointing, really. Not great performance on my part, but nonetheless, for a cup of tea and a wee biscuit thing, I don't know what it is, but it's good chocolate in it, that's all that matters. So we're having a wee tiny bit of rain and also a wee bright bit from the sun. I don't know, I mean, I wouldn't call it sunny, but it's brighter than it was. I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to sit here beside the loch and have some tea. And I may move along a wee bit. I need to think whether I'm going out to further lochs or whether this is the limit of my explorations for the day, and that's sort of causing me to be betwixt and between at the minute, you know. Lewis has about 1% of the UK land surface area, and it has 16% of the UK fresh water surface area. Don't know if that made sense, but what it means is it has an awful lot of fresh water. And it is, if you want to fish, it is just the perfect place to be, you know. It is fabulous. So the problem is deciding how many places you're going to fish or where you're going to fish, you know. Not easy. You might notice the wind has sort of changed direction. It's come right round. Well, 90 degrees maybe. So people are always asking me what gear is important for using in the Hebrides. And it turns out what they mean is things like fishing rods. And to be honest, fishing rods don't much matter, you know. Just use what takes your fancy. I use an 11-foot 7 weight. I use it for basically everything here. I have an 11-foot 4 weight as well that I sometimes use for the brown trout or for the sea trout. Really, who makes it? Who cares, you know? Key thing out here really is decent walking boots, decent jacket and stuff like that. I'm wearing Altberg boots at the minute, not that impressed with them. Probably go back to the Scarpas, but again, it's personal choice thing, isn't it? I like the old army windproof smocks as jackets mostly because they aren't waterproof, and I know these days we're trained to believe everything needs to be waterproof, but that just simply isn't true. And when you're walking like I did this morning, you get as wet inside no matter how breathable the waterproof fabric is, you know. So the windproof smock's hard to beat, good pockets. The only slight problem with it, I suppose, is it's only available in kind of army colour schemes, you know. But they're a fantastic job if you're walking the moor. The other thing that's great, and that I've just put on because it is very cold today, is the Buffalo Special 6. They're a fantastic insulating layer, work really well in almost all conditions, providing it's cold, you know. You couldn't really walk hard in them in any conditions, and certainly they would drive you out with the heat and in a mild day, you know. But when you arrive at the loch like this, after walking for a while, and the wind's cold and it has just swung from northwest to northeast, I think, then the Special 6 is the job. Get yourself one. Again, it's no good if you're not doing this sort of fishing, but if you need to be warm, you'll never regret it, you know. So, having had a cup of tea and time for contemplation, I decided I didn't really like that other loch, and that I would set out and walk for here. What can I say? It doesn't look much more exciting, to be honest, but you don't know. So I've come a wee bit further than I kind of had planned for the day, and I'm now into this boggy kind of. Don't like this at all, quite frankly. Sphagnum capillifolium, often a good sign. Hummock-forming species. Yeah, well, I must have a phone signal up here. Seems to be about the only thing I'm going to have. However, let's see if we can't get the fly out and have a wee cast and see how we do. You never know, might see something. Well, wee dobbler. World's stupidest trout. Not much fight in him, was there? So I thought I would walk up the other end of the loch to see if I could catch a wee bit of wind. But as you can see, I kind of have an abundance of lochs to choose from. And there's a wee scrappy one over there as well. Don't know if you can see that, but But the wind has died, and just I'm concerned it's going to come up in the opposite direction. You know, you spend all day walking around the loch so you can be in the right side, and then the wind suddenly comes in your face again. But I'll go up here a wee bit. I kind of feel lunch coming up on me, because this doesn't look desperately hopeful. Like, you know, I mean, I've had one wee fish, and I know that's like an amazing thing, really, when you consider how late in the season it is and that we've had frosts and stuff. But oh well, you know, don't know. I'll go on to a sticky out bit here, do some casting, maybe eat some lunch. It doesn't look great though. Let's see if we can see anything of it. If we can even catch the edge of the wee wave, you know. Isn't this fantastic bit of moor with the woolly fringe moss and the cladonia, the lichen, and the sphagnum as well? It's really amazing, isn't it? How all this stuff lives out here, like. Really fantastic bit of moor. Anyhow, there's kind of good news and bad news. The good news is that I answered the phone, and in the process of having a chat on the phone, I decided, I'm going to walk over to the next loch. And the problem is, of course, I'm getting further and further away from the car. And each loch I walk to, I'm like, you know what I mean? So, anyhow, I thought, instead of having lunch in this one, I'll have lunch on the next one, because it's only a short distance away. Take a wee look, and then sort of start working back in like not quite a circular route, but in a slightly different way to the way I came in, which it's not completely clever on this ground, because the way we came is actually the easiest walking, but such is life. So I'll keep walking out here until I'm knackered, and then I'll turn around and walk back, you know. That's what I usually do. Just be careful in case there's a wee burn in here. See, there's the next loch there. It's just like a wee skip and a hop over. But again, when you're walking on this ground, even a couple of 100 yards can feel like hard work. Interesting looking wee loch though. Tricky banks. Very tricky banks. So, quick few casts on here, not moving a single thing, and I think I'll bounce over to the next loch. There's a few wee lochs really close together here, so I'm just going to bounce along them quickly. I still haven't had my lunch yet, so that's starting to be a major issue, so soon be time for that. So, having had lunch, I walked over to here, and again, it's not one of my more promising days out, you know. Doesn't look very appealing. I've just put a hen harrier. There's a sort of construction over there. Looks like it was once fenced in, maybe for sheep or something. I don't know. But just put a hen harrier out of there. So I'm going to have a cast in this anyhow and see how it goes. I don't foresee it being a great experience. Ah, well. Move to fish. Oh well, I've been walking for some considerable time now, and I've finally hit one of the waymarker posts. So while it doesn't mean we're home and dry, as Douglas Adams says, we're certainly home and vigorously tiling ourselves off. So now we just have to follow the posts in. Oh dear. But, oh well, it's quite a long walk, you know. And some bits of the moor are difficult. So now we'll toddle along these and hopefully not be too long till we're back in the car. Well, that was a fantastic day for exploring and whatnot. Not so good for the fishing, but I've probably only fished 45 minutes, if that, and had 2 wee fish just. But I visited a few lochs that I've never been to before, and now I'm going to get the car turned around and head home for some dinner.